What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at the Burris RT3 sent over by Optics Planet to give you guys a good look at it, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I have a link down there in the description box down below, as always, for this one if you want to get a good look at it with a coupon code if you're looking to purchase this one down there in the description box down below. Again, this is a Burris RT3. This is a small prism scope with big benefits. A lot to go over on this scope. There is not much information on this one. It was introduced in 2020. So I'm going to do my best to go over a lot of these features, so try not to skip along too much because you might miss something. Again, this is a prism scope offered by Burris known as the RT3. It is a fixed 3-power prism scope with etched illumination reticle inside of there and 7 settings for your illumination. As you can see, there's a lot of benefits right away with this scope being this very small footprint. It is about the size of your standard red dots or even a shotgun shell to compare it to. Very small, very lightweight. It weighs in at about 8.8 ounces and it is about 3.5 inches. This has your raise mount right there, which is not adjustable. You can't remove this mount. This is what you get right there. Very nice as far as cheek weld goes for your standard stocks on the back. Again, the mag pull back there is about what a lot of people are running. Again, this has an etched reticle inside, so that means that if your battery dies for whatever reason, or you just forget to put one back in there, you do still have a reticle inside of there. So whereas your typical red dots, if you don't put a battery in there or if your battery dies, you're basically looking through a clear piece of glass. With this, you still have some kind of reticle and a way to target whatever it is you're looking through. This is where these prism scopes, if you haven't really looked into these too much, this is the basic blending of your traditional scopes or low-powered scopes as well as a red dot. This is where it all comes together, and if they all kind of got it going on, this is the baby that would come out here. Lots of benefits to this. Again, the footprint on this thing is very small, lightweight, and compact. As small as this is, interestingly, when you have this, again, it's a fixed 3 power, so you're looking at 3 power magnification. If I took any one of my scopes and put them to 3 power, the field of view inside of this little scope right here is much more impressive than any one of my other scopes that I have at 3 power when I put them there. So you're looking at a very nice field of view, and I can't seem to find the actual field of view stats out there because they're really not listed too many places, but take my word for it, this is a very wide field of view with its 3 power. Now, one drawback, and if you've already noticed this, the location that this little mount is sitting at here is all the way at the back of the receiver. Now that has to be done because with most prism scopes, you're looking at a very small eye relief on the back of the scope. The eye relief in this scope comes in at about 2.6 inches away from the pupil. So basically, this might scare some people away if you're new to prism scopes, but if you take a look at how my low power variable optic usually mounts right here, you can see my ocular piece back there is about where the scope sits as it is right now. It just looks kind of funny because you have to relocate a couple things around on your flat top here. So with that being said, because this has such a short eye relief, it does still come up pretty quick. Whenever you pull that scope up to your face, it still pops in just like any other magnified optic. The picture still comes into place. And with that, the eye box inside of this thing is fairly impressive. So there's a lot of forgiveness in there if you don't have this exactly, oriented up to your eyeball when you pull it up. You can still be slightly off and it will still be in picture once you get used to shooting with a magnified optic, of course. But again, because it has such a short eye relief, you can't use this scope on really anything other than your AR platforms, because if you try to put this, say, on a bolt action or a Ruger 1022 or something that has a traditional style receiver in stock, it doesn't have the rail that comes all the way back this far, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable unless you have an extremely short length of pull on said rifle. So this will really only work on your AR style platforms or flat top Picatinny rail type receivers. So the reticle inside of here is known as their ballistic 3X reticle, and it has all your hash marks, and you can take a close look at all the settings in there with the BDC, or I should say subtensions, out to 600 yards. And you can see you have your windage and your ranging notches in there as well. So this reticle in there is highly useful for hunting or ranging your targets and seeing how far away they are. With that being said, this reticle is very small. It does look very small looking through the camera. However, when you're really focused on the red dot for precision shooting, or not just the red dot, but the reticle itself for precision shooting, it really does come into focus fairly well when you're taking your time for your shots as far as shooting at, say, 100 yards. This reticle seems small at first glance, but again, when you're really focused on it, it feels almost just like any other reticle, just a little bit smaller. That dot in the center, though, I will tell you this: if you don't have your illumination on and you're trying to view at darker distances or darker targets at distance, it does kind of disappear. So I found that I usually have to have my illumination on to assist with those really fine, precise shots out there. So let's talk about that illumination here for just a second. That is your brightest setting that you can see right there. This I would consider to be just daylight bright. I mean, it is barely making the spectrum, in my opinion. You will notice that it's on at daylight bright, but it's not as bright as, say your typical quality red dots. If you turned your typical red dot up to max power and then lowered it down three notches, that's about the daylight bright that you get out of this one. I would just say that it's just daylight bright enough to be shooting at daylight target. Now, if you take a look at this video that I'm showing here, unfortunately my camera is trying to translate what it's seeing as best as it can. For some reason, it's making the reticle look like it's blinking. That's not the case. It's just the recording that the camera is going through for some reason. So you can see that at that intervals of as it's blinking, that is how bright it is. So it's pretty decent bright still. And it really does help when you're panning out there at darker areas at distance. The illumination settings have an auto shut-off. So essentially, if you are on your top 3 illuminated settings, this will shut off automatically at 4 hours without any movement of the scope. So if this scope is placed into a safe or placed down for 4 hours, it will automatically shut off itself to reserve battery life. If you are on your lower 4 settings down at the bottom, those are your night vision or low power settings, it will shut off after 8 hours of not movement. The illumination is controlled by these rubber buttons on the top here. You can see facing forward brings your dot illumination all the way up, and facing back turns your dot illumination all the way down. Holding on to the lower setting for 4 seconds will shut off your illumination. The elevation adjustments are very nice. They do have a nice audible click to them and are very tactile whenever you're clicking through the settings there. These are somewhat recessed into the optic itself, so they're not protruding or anything like that, so there are no actual caps to it. Now again, don't let this eye relief and the position of this thing scare you away. It does kind of look funny having your backup iron sights located in front of your optic. Those are your backup iron sights, first of all, so you're really not planning on using those at all, and even at this radius right here of your iron sights is still not a bad distance apart, so you're still looking at a fully capable rifle if you had to drop back to your irons. With the eye relief on the back of this thing being at 2.6 inches, it is easy to compensate with your rifle as far as pulling in your adjustable stock to get a closer eye relief if you need to. Everybody's different, every shooter is different, but even in my handling of this thing, having the stock all the way out or having the stock all the way in, depending on how you like it, it's still pretty easy to get a good pupil lock onto this 2.5 inch eye relief. The glass inside of here is very clear. Again, with that very nice field of view inside of this scope, you are looking at a wide area through that scope of what you can see inside of there. Great light transmission. This thing is extremely bright. It's simply so clear that it looks like you're looking through just a clear piece of glass that is magnified, which is what this is, a very fine optic. I've found that even though that this is on a 3x magnification, because that reticle is somewhat smaller, at full brightness settings, it is very easy to pick this thing up just like your standard red dots, and that illuminated reticle pops right in just like any red dot. So even though that this is a fully illuminated reticle, not just a dot, the thing pops up at 3x magnification. When you have both eyes open, you're still looking at a nice sized dot popping up into your peripheral. Well, guys, that's all I got for you as far as this scope goes. In my opinion, this is an excellent little hunting scope if you were to use it for that. I can see this being at that magnification, which you would want to use for a precise shot for responsible hunting wise at 100 to 200 yards on using, say, a 223. The reticle again inside of there is for 223 or 308. So that being said, you can use this at any one of those types of AR platform styles and have a nice, lightweight, compact, 3-powered, illuminated reticle, etched reticle. This little scope has got it going on. as far as being lightweight, small, and pretty much capable of anything you want to put it through at those distances and with that precision inside of there. A very fine scope for just plinking and shooting at the range with that 3x magnification. And if you're looking for something that doesn't have magnification, you might want to check out their RT1, which is essentially a 1 power, or no power, I should say, little red dot. So again, I hope you guys appreciate the good look at this thing. This was sent over by Optics Planet. If you're looking to purchase this one, I have the link down there in the description box down below with a coupon code for a percentage off of your purchase over there at Optics Planet. We appreciate you guys watching, and be sure to hit that like button down there and share with your friends, and comment with any questions you might have. Do my best to try to get back to you guys. We always appreciate the support. We appreciate Optics Planet sending this over to give you guys a good look at it, and we will catch you guys on the next video.